EFCC secures final forfeiture of 60 million naira in Parado Jeep. Reps hope to pass PIGB before July, says Bajamiala. Security operatives recover weapons from Bauchi Forest. On business, federal government approves 20 million naira technology fund for young innovators. On sport, Real Madrid lost at home to Manchester City. And on the international scene, Iraq shuts schools and universities after issuing travel ban on coronavirus. Welcome to Standard Press Television News. My name is Samira Ibrahim. Now the news in full. Justice Svtv Murtala Aminu of the Federal High Court sitting in Gusau, Zamfara State, on Tuesday, February 25, 2020, granted the prayers of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) Sokoto Zonal Office for the final forfeitures of 60 million naira cash recovered from Murtala Muhammad. The Commission's Sokoto Zonal Office had on Tuesday, May 28, 2019, arrested Muhammad, who was conveying the amount in 4 Ghana must-go bags inside a black Land Cruiser Prado Jeep with registration number DKA 67PX Kaduna at number 145 Igala Housing Estate, opposite Bypass Road, Gusau, Zamfara State. The judge also granted the final forfeiture of the federal government of the Prado Jeep, which was the carrier of the money. The court had earlier directed a publication in national dailies for any person or persons claiming the funds to come forward and defend such. Justice Fatima held that a final forfeiture order of court is hereby granted for forfeiting to the federal government of Nigeria the money sum of 60 million naira and a black Land Cruiser Prado Jeep, which are reasonably suspected to be proceeds of unlawful activities. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Bajamiala, has given an assurance that the House will do all it could to pass the Petroleum Industry Government Bill, PIGB, before the end of June. According to him, the PIGB is on the front burner of the House, and members of the Green Chamber will commence the process of its passage soon. The Speaker stated this on Wednesday in Abuja at a meeting with the delegation of the Expert Advisory Panel of the Nigeria Natural Resource Charter, noting that the House needed the support and partnership of such group. He stressed that although the PIGB has been in the National Assembly for years, the 9th Assembly was committed to putting it to rest. The Speaker said the House intends to start the process soon, hoping that by June, it will be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. He added that oil and gas is an integral part of our economy and remains the mainstay of the economy. He said it requires the House to work with those who understand the problems of that sector. The Speaker noted that for the oil and gas industry to develop, there has to be a symbolic relationship, pointing out that they have the knowledge while the House has the capacity to make it happen. The Speaker told the guests that the House will use the zeal and patriotism with which it passed the Deep Offshore Sharing Agreement law to pass the PIGB. The leader of the delegation and former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Odeyin Ajumogobia, said the visit was to seek the understanding and cooperation of the Speaker to pass some bills that could boost Nigeria's economy, one of which was the PIGB. He explained that the panel's main concern was the implementation of the Natural Resource Charter for the nation's oil and gas sector to benefit the citizens. The leader of the delegation noted that part of their concern was focusing on providing capacity to support the legislature in determining the best way in terms of legislation that will move the oil and gas sector forward. In line with the provision of Part 6, Section 21 of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) Establishment Act, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the composition of a monitoring committee for the commission. Members of the committee are Minister of State, Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Omotayo Olasadura, Member, and Olusola Adesola, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, Member. Other members are Mr. Shamsuddin Bello, representing Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Mr. Charles Ike, representative of the Federal Ministry of Environment, Atanda Kolawole, representing Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Ms. Aisha Umar, representing Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Dr. M.K. Mohammed, representing Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Dr. Dorothy Wondo, representing the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, while Mr. Alfred Abba, a director in the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, is Member Secretary. A cartel of arms and ammunition suspected to be owned by bandits has been recovered by a renowned boundary hunter in collaboration with security agents from the Lem Bora Forest, a notorious criminal hideout in Bauchi State. According to the hunter, Ali Kwara, a repentant criminal, provided the tip-off that led them to weapons catch. A bandit's arsenal, exhibited at the Bauchi Government House, consists of over 1,000 live ammunition, 43 assorted firearms, and 30 cartridges, although the criminals themselves are still at large. Governor Bala Mohammed, who received the weaponry, which in turn handed over to the police, says his administration is resolved to engage communities in the fight against crime. He noted that the weapons were recovered following intelligence from the State Security Services, SSS, and other security agencies. The governor said, in collaboration with the police, they have confiscated the arms from bandits who are at large and they have run away from Bauchi State. He said there are some informants within and outside the towns of Bauchi and environs that are helping us to do this, and this is a collaboration between both the government, Alukwara, and the security agencies, so that we will be able to have a very concrete community engagement with a view to knowing all those bandits. The Supreme Court has dismissed an application for review of the judgment which sacked the governorship candidate of All Progressives Congress APC in Bayelsa State, David Leon, and his deputy. Mr. Leon was sacked by the Apex Court on February 13th on grounds that his deputy submitted forged certificates to INEC. The court ruled that Mr. Degi Oremion's disqualification had affected the joint ticket with which he and the governorship candidate Leon ran for and won on November 16, 2019. At the proceeding on Wednesday, Mr. Leon and APC in the applications argued by Afe Babalola and Mr. Wole Olanifekun asked the court to review and set aside the judgment which voided their participation in the November 16 governorship election. Mr. Babalola added that the Supreme Court has inherent powers to set aside its own decision because the judgment was a nullity on account of the denial of fair hearing of his client. Meanwhile, Mr. Olanifekun on his part argued that the Apex Court erred a law when it invoked Section 36 of the Electoral Act to disqualify the APC's participation in the election, when the Federal High Court judgment restored by the Supreme Court did not disqualify the party's eligibility. However, counsel to the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Tayo Oyetibo, informed the Apex Court that the application by APC and its governorship candidate were a dangerous invitation to the Supreme Court to violate Section 285 of the 1999 Constitution as amended for the court to sit on appeal over its own matter. He further stated that the Apex Court was right in disqualifying Leon as the governor-elect because Section 187 of the 1999 Constitution is clear and unambiguous to the effect that a governorship candidate who has no deputy candidate is not qualified to contest any governorship election in Nigeria. After taking arguments from parties in the matter, Justice Amina Augi, who read the judgment, said the application lacked merit and the decisions of the court are final. She added that the applicant failed to point out errors, stating that the judgment is final for all ages. The Apex Court judge said the judgment is final in the real sense and no court on earth can review the judgment. There must be an end to litigation even if we review this judgment. Every disaffected litigant will bring similar applications and the finality of Supreme Court judgment will be lost. She added that the applications are frivolous and vexatious and awarded the cost of 10 million naira against the applicants to be personally paid by their counsel. Justice Augie added that the counsels of the APC and Mr. Leon are to each pay Governor Doye Diri, his deputy Mr. Lawrence, and the PDP the same 10 million naira. A corporal of the Nigerian Army serving at the Theatre Command Operation Lafia Dole, Army Super Camp 15, located at Malam Faturi, went berserk in early hours of 26 February 2020 and opened fire, killing 4 of his colleagues before shooting himself. According to a statement by Sagir Musa, Colonel Acting Director of Army Public Relations, 2 other colleagues were also injured during the incident and are currently in stable condition in a hospital in Maiduguri. Colonel Musa said efforts are ongoing to contact the families of the gallant colleagues who paid the supreme price in the line of duty. May their gentle souls rest in peace. Meanwhile, an investigation into the case has since been instituted to determine the circumstances that led to the unfortunate incidents. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. On business, over to Rita.
Welcome to Business Desk. The federal government on Tuesday approved the sum of $20 million technology fund for young innovators. The sum was set aside by the Bank of Industry in furtherance of the Buhari administration drive to support micro, small and medium enterprises. This was disclosed by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Lalo Akode. He added that this was the outcome of a meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, which was presided over by Vice President Yomi Osibanjo, to review progress on the Buhari administration effort to support micro, small and medium enterprises. According to Akode, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) is also offering a 90 billion naira soft loan facility for small-scale agricultural enterprises. He added that the National Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Clinic, driven by the Vice President, has now reached 26 states, with more clinics to come in the series. Also, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is now posed more than ever to register more Nigerians venturing into the food and drug businesses. All federal government agencies playing one role or the other in the micro, small and medium enterprises sector attended the meeting. And that's all on Business Desk. I'm Agua Rita.
On spot, over to Sofian.
Hello viewers, welcome to Standard Voice Television Sports Room. My name is Abu Sufyan Abubakar and as usual I bring the sports updates. Manchester City produced a stunning late fight back as goals from Gabriel Jesus and Kevin De Bruyne secured a memorable 2-1 win at Real Madrid to take control of their Champions League round of 16 tie. After a cagey first half, the hosts capitalized on a defensive mix-up between Rodri and Nicolas Otamendi to take the lead as the impressive Vinicius Junior raced towards goal before neatly squaring for Isco to slot home. Sergio Ramos shot over as Real Madrid looked to double their advantage, but City equalized 12 minutes before time when Jesus nailed it in from close range. It was the least City deserved what had been an impressive away performance by Pep Guardiola's side, and things got even better 7 minutes from time when substitute Raheem Sterling was brought down inside the box by Dani Carvajal and Kevin De Bruyne stepped home to confidently convert from the spot. It got even worse for Real Madrid when they were reduced to 10 men with 5 minutes remaining as Sergio Ramos brought down Jesus as he ran through on goal and the defender was shown a straight red card. It was the first time City had beaten Real Madrid in the Champions League and means they are now in driving seat before the second leg tie at the Etihad on Tuesday, 17th of March. And in the other Champions League match played on the same day, Lyon produced a spirited display to take surprise lead after the first leg of Champions League round of 16 tie with Juventus. Lucas Tossard scored the only goal in the first half as the hosts claimed their first victory over the Italian giants. Juventus started confidently but failed to create any clear-cut chances before Tossard converted Houssem Aouar's cross from close range to hand the Ligue 1 side the lead. The visitors continued to have more possession, but they struggled to penetrate the resolute Lyon defense, failing to register a single shot on target. With the clock ticking down, Juve ramped up pressure, but Paulo Dybala's late strike was ruled out for offside. The second leg will take place on the same day at the Allianz Stadium on 17th March this year. And that's all we have on sports today. Back to the newsroom.
And on the international scene. Iraq announced the first confirmed case of coronavirus in the capital Baghdad on Thursday, taking nationwide infections to 6 and raising concerns about the capacity of the dilapidated health system to respond. The government announced sweeping measures late Wednesday to try to contain the spread of the virus, ordering the closure of schools and universities, cafes, cinemas, and other public spaces until March 7th. It also banned travel to or from some of the worst affected countries, including China, Iran, Japan, South Korea, Thailand, Singapore, Italy, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Iraq had already blocked entry for foreigners traveling from neighboring Iran, the main cause of coronavirus infections in the Middle East or China, where COVID-19 originated. The health ministry said the first case in Baghdad was in a young man who had recently returned from Iran. Iran has reported 19 fatalities from 139 infections, the highest death toll outside China. The patient was placed under quarantine in Baghdad hospital and is currently in good health. Iraq's 6 confirmed cases have all been traced to neighboring Iran, a popular tourism destination for Iraqis who also visit the country to receive medical treatment. The World Health Organization says many hospitals in Iraq are poorly equipped or in disrepair, and there are fewer than 10,000 doctors for every 10,000 people. Baghdad is the Arab world's second most populous city after the Egyptian capital, Cairo. The health ministry advised against large gatherings, urging officials to take steps to restrict intermixing, a move that may deal a blow to anti-government protests that have gripped Baghdad and southern Iraq since October. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. EFCC secures final future of 60 million naira in Parado Jeep. Reps hope to pass PIGB before July, says Bajaniala. Security operatives recover weapons from Bauchi Forest. On business, federal government approves $20 million technology fund for young innovators. On sport, Real Madrid lost at home to Manchester City. And on the international scene, Iraq shut schools and universities after issuing travel bans on coronavirus. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs, Ibrahim Garbatuna, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant time. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.